Hello, welcome to Meals with Maria. Today I have Dollar Tree dinners for you. Backed by popular demand, we have some more Dollar Tree dinners. And these Dollar Tree dinners, I would say, with the looming recession, may be recession-proof dinners. That is, as long as the Dollar Tree does not raise their prices again. I feel like they were at $1 forever. So I'm hoping they're at $1.25 forever. And we don't see a price increase anytime soon. So these are amazing $1.25 purchases that you can make in order to make fabulous meals for next to nothing. I hope you enjoy. All right, I saw these pork loin riblets and I was like, let's make pork fried rice, because fried rice is like that traditional budget food. They have plenty of stuff at the Dollar Tree that I can make fried rice with. And I've never tried these pork loin riblets before. Even though it said barbecue, not worried about it because we're going to use a teriyaki sauce with it. And I think the flavors will meld. You get 2 pounds of brown rice for $1.25, which is basically unbeatable. And then the spring rolls, I've talked about these before. I've raved about these before. They go so well with a fried rice. And for $1.25 for 8 of them, it's pretty much a no-brainer. And then my husband, as I've talked about before, not a big pepper guy. I bought the peppers and onions mix from Dollar Tree, and then I suddenly realized, I'm like, oh no, he won't eat this. So I grabbed those mixed vegetables. But I later decided to just do the peppers and onions and do the mixed vegetables on the side. So that's my thing. And I had that teriyaki sauce. So I'm going to start off by cooking my rice. I'm adding 3 cups of water to a pot and letting that boil. And then while that's boiling, in the meantime, I'm going to cut up my riblets. So these do have bones in them. And it's a fun little process to try and get the bones out. There's probably alternative options, like you could do the Instapot with these and then pull the bones out after they're cooked. That might be easier. You could even just cook them in the oven and do it that way too, and then take the already cooked meat out, and that would probably be fine. But I decided to do it ahead of time, slice it up really small because we're just doing like a little fried rice stir fry thing. I'm like, I don't know if it's technically fried rice or a stirred fried because I didn't put any eggs or anything in it like that, but whatever it was delicious. You want to just cut as much meat off of those bones as possible. Make the best of it. This meat was actually so tender and delicious. Like, my husband had zero clue that it came from Dollar Tree when he was eating it. And the kids gave it a 10 out of 10 too. So, you know, you're in a bind for $2.50. You can grab these pieces of pork and they still taste great, especially when you're putting it into a stir fry. So it's not going to give you a ton of meat, but it will give you enough. And especially if you're just trying to get through the week, this is going to be plenty, especially if you're a single person living alone. You probably would get like 5 meals worth out of this. Like, we had extra for my husband's lunch the next day, and I could have even made more rice than I did. I only used about half the package. So this is a very filling, there's plenty of food meal, and it's a great way to use that Dollar Tree meat. Once your water is boiling, I'm just following the package instructions. So I'm making 2 times the recipe. That's 2 cups of brown rice. Add a little salt if you want. Bring it to a boil and cover it, and then reduce the heat to low and cook for 20 minutes. Now I'm just going to take this Dollar Tree teriyaki sauce, which I think is absolutely fabulous. If you haven't tried it already, go get yourself some, just to keep in your cabinet. And I am going to kind of marinate this meat. So it does have that mesquite barbecue flavor on it, but I figured, why don't we kind of mix those flavors together? I feel like barbecue and teriyaki is similar enough anyway, and once I did cook it up, I didn't get really any barbecue flavor. It was all teriyaki all day, so it was really, really good. So you just want to pour that over your meat and let that sit for about 10 minutes. After 20 minutes, you want to fluff your rice with a fork, and then we're going to cover it back up and let it sit off of the heat for about 15 minutes. And while that's sitting, we're going to cook everything up. So I'm just adding a couple teaspoons of oil, whatever oil you have on hand, to a wok, but you can just use a regular frying pan. That'll be just fine. And I'm adding my pork to that pan over high heat. I'm just going to basically stir fry this up really fast. It's small pieces, so it cooks pretty quickly. You just want to make sure that it's cooked all the way through, and just stir it frequently so that you can cook it at that high temperature without it burning. Once it's cooked all the way through, just set it aside in a separate bowl. And then to that pan, you can just add in your peppers and onions. And we're just going to cook these down until they are cooked all the way through. You could alternatively just cook them according to the back of the package and then just kind of add them back to that pan for a quick fry. I cooked them this way. I did find that they got pretty watery, so I actually drained the water out of them as I was cooking them, just to make sure that there wasn't like a ton of water in my meal. It's probably a good idea to get your egg rolls started at this point, so you can either cook those directly according to the back of the package in your oven. I actually air fried mine, so I did them at 360 degrees in the air fryer for 8 minutes and they turned out perfect. So that's my air fryer recommendation if you want to try those in there. Once your vegetables are all cooked up and you've drained out all the water, go ahead and add your pork back in. You can see kind of on the side there, I am cooking up those vegetables and a little bit of pork for my husband to kind of make a little separate dish. Although he said it would have been fine if I had just served him this. He was not that much of a baby about it. And then I added in most of my rice, and again, you can do all of it in there. It's not a big deal, however you're cooking. And just gonna stir fry that up, add in a little bit of extra teriyaki sauce and keeping that over high heat. I like to cook this over a high heat because it kind of ends up crisping up some of the edges on things, which I like a little bit of a crispy fried rice or stir fry, whatever you want to call it. And you know, the meat, the veggies, and the rice with that teriyaki sauce is just fabulous. Everybody absolutely loved it. You just want to heat this until it's kind of heated all the way through pretty much at this point, and you like how it looks and you like how it tastes, and you are good to go. It is absolutely beautiful. It's a pretty healthy dish as well, and the whole family loved it. The kiddos loved it, and my husband loved it. And I love that we're using brown rice because at the Dollar Tree, 2 pounds for $1.25, such a good deal. I feel like we're using all the things that are a good deal at the Dollar Tree here. And here is our table. We have our delicious cooked mini spring rolls and egg rolls. There's my husband's dish. I did those mixed vegetables, and we had so much food. I served this with some sesame seeds. If you wanted to pop those over the top, I do believe they sell those at Dollar Tree too, but you totally don't have to have them. If you had some fresh scallions, you could add that too. You can add whatever you like. I added a little bit of soy sauce to mine and had that with the spring rolls, and it was a huge hit. What a great Dollar Tree meal. For our next meal, I'm going to do a black bean tostada enchilada. And I wanted to do regular tostadas, but I actually used all of my tortillas. So when I went to make them, I'm like, uh-oh, and I couldn't get to the store. So we are going to use these tostada shells that I used for my crunch wraps from Taco Bell. And then I found the Spanish rice at Dollar Tree, which is so easy to make. I've got this Monterey Jack cheese, which is perfect. And then I got 2 cans of red enchilada sauce, but I didn't even need 2 cans. So crazy enough. Why did I waste my money and time on that? We'll save that for next time because I'm sure I can make some delicious enchiladas with that if I want to. And then I am going to cook up my beans the night before because that way I have them for the next day. I always recommend that if you do have dried beans, cook them up ahead of time so you're ready to go. I'm using the Instant Pot method, so I just rinse them. I was looking for any beans that were funky or any rocks in there, and I will put this entire recipe as well as a regular recipe for cooking black beans in the description box down below so that you can see different options. But I'm just going to add a bunch of onion powder in here because it does say to add a fresh onion, but I don't have a fresh onion. And this takes about 35 to 45 minutes. So, it's a good thing to do just in the evening time and let it cool down and then put it in the fridge for the next day. And you're going to have beans, and we're going to have beans for much longer than just those enchiladas. Like one of these 1 pound packages of beans lasts a long time. So there was actually a lot left over from this entire thing. I ended up with lots of tostadas left over. I ended up with lots of enchilada sauce. I ended up with a half a package of brown rice. I ended up with tons of black beans. So you could make a complete other meal with that by adding a few things you have around your house. These things are way budget friendly. I am just making that Spanish rice according to the package. We're just going to add it into some boiling water and cover it and let it sit for 7 minutes. It is so easy. It takes next to no time to make, and it is absolutely delicious. So fabulous, fabulous thing to add to a Mexican style dinner. Now I'm just going to heat up my enchilada sauce on the side because we're going to serve these at the table, and I'm going to kind of let people assemble their own. But if you were like baking them in the oven or you're going to use like regular enchiladas, obviously you don't have to heat it up ahead of time, but that's how I'm doing it. And then I'm just taking my tostada shells and I'm going to bake those in the oven at 350 degrees for about 5 minutes just to heat them up. They are so good heated up. I recommend this all day. It's almost like a nacho. Like I had never done tostadas like this before, and the kids are like, how do I eat? I'm like, it's kind of like a nacho, kind of like a big fat nacho. It was so good. That crunchy on the bottom is so delicious. And then I am just going to hand shred this Monterey Jack cheese, try my best to do my best with it because it kind of like falls apart. But you can actually take the cheese as it's falling apart and kind of roll it back into a ball and then shred that, and it works pretty well. Now, because I had cooked those beans the night before, I just heated up a couple of cups of them in the microwave for a couple minutes, and they heated through just perfectly. And then I served everything at the dinner table. So it was kind of build your own thing. I had some of that Spanish rice and then put the beans right on top of my tostadas. And then on top of that, I added my enchilada sauce and my cheese. And there was so much flavor in this. It was so delicious and everybody loved it. So what a great Dollar Tree meal this was. I was a huge fan. I loved finding that Spanish rice there too. That was the perfect side for this. I want to thank you all so much for watching today. Thank you for being here. I hope you appreciate these Dollar Tree meals. Give this video a thumbs up if you want to see more Dollar Tree meals. I'd be happy to make them for you. And subscribe if you haven't already. I'd really appreciate that. It will help you too because you'll be able to see my upcoming videos. I'm doing 3 budget videos a week these days. If you want to see more Dollar Tree content, go ahead and click on this next video where I make 2 additional Dollar Tree meals. And I will see you all very soon.